What if I told you that right now, without even moving, you're already practicing your future? Not in a motivational way, literally. Your brain is running simulations of the life you haven't lived yet. And the wild part? It reacts to those mental images almost the same way it reacts to reality. That means every win you imagine, and every disaster you picture, is quietly training your brain on what to expect next. But here's the twist nobody tells you: most people visualize the wrong way. They think they're motivating themselves, but they're actually teaching their brain to freeze, avoid, or self-sabotage. You might have done it too, without noticing. Today, we're going inside the hidden control room of your mind. The place where your future is quietly being rehearsed. And the best part? One tiny shift in how you visualize can change how fast you grow, how confidently you act, and how your mind responds to challenges. I'll show you that shift later. But first, let's step into the simulator you never knew you were using. Your brain has something like a private testing lab. Before you take action, it runs a full virtual rehearsal. Neuroscientists discovered that when you imagine doing something, playing a sport, speaking confidently, even waking up early, the same circuits fire as if you were actually doing it. Your brain doesn't wait for real life. It starts preparing early. Athletes rely on this. Surgeons use it. Musicians swear by it. But the strange part is, your brain doesn't decide whether the rehearsal is good or bad. If you imagine yourself failing, hesitating, or getting judged, your brain rehearses that too. Think about the last thing you avoided because you were sure it would go wrong. That wasn't instinct. That was a mental simulation you didn't realize you were running. And that leads to a deeper issue most people never notice: the way you picture your future determines how your brain behaves in the present. And most people picture it in a way that works against them. I'll show you the correct formula soon, but we need to go deeper. Here's the uncomfortable truth: visualizations can backfire. Hard. Your brain loves images, but it also loves comfort. When you visualize only the perfect end result, the dream body, dream job, dream lifestyle, your brain releases dopamine as if you already achieved it. Sounds great, until the motivation drops. Suddenly you feel relaxed instead of driven. Ever had a moment where you imagine a successful future and then somehow feel too lazy to start? That's the dopamine trap. You trick your mind into thinking the reward has already arrived. Someone imagines giving a perfect presentation, and then never practices. Someone imagines being productive, and then scrolls their phone instead. It's not laziness. It's a biological glitch. But the real secret isn't avoiding visualization, it's changing how you do it. And the next layer has nothing to do with the image itself, and everything to do with the emotion you attach to it. Because here's the twist: your brain doesn't just see your visualizations. It feels them. Scientists call this emotional encoding. If you imagine succeeding but feel nervous, embarrassed, or doubtful while imagining, your brain marks the goal as a threat. So even if you picture winning, if your stomach tightens, your brain goes, "Avoid this." A lot of people think their goals are too big. But the real problem is that their emotional signature doesn't match the image. Imagine someone visualizing talking to their boss. They picture confidence, but feel fear. The brain doesn't follow the image, it follows the emotion. And if the emotion is wrong, the visualization backfires. But there's an easy way to flip this emotional message, even if you've failed before. And to understand that, you need to know something surprising about how your brain predicts the future. Your brain doesn't create the future from scratch. It uses your past as a template. Every time you visualize something, your mind quietly searches through old memories, wins, losses, embarrassing moments, and uses them as building blocks. That means if you've ever failed at something, your brain tries to protect you by predicting another failure. For someone who's tried to lose weight, their brain will replay every failed attempt as if it's the only possible outcome. So even when they imagine success, their brain whispers, "We've been here, and it didn't work." It's not negativity, it's predictive memory. But the good news? You can override this built-in limitation with one simple shift, changing the timeline of your visualization. Once you do that, your brain stops comparing your future to your past and starts building a completely new path. This shift is what elite performers secretly use. Instead of visualizing the final goal, they visualize the steps leading to it. Tiny steps. Micro-actions. Instead of imagining themselves winning the championship, they imagine the warm-up. Instead of imagining the perfect performance, they imagine the first small move. When you visualize the process, not the outcome, the brain releases norepinephrine, the chemical of focus, not fantasy. It makes your brain say, "This is doable. Let's get to work." Imagine your dream job. Instead of picturing yourself already successful, imagine yourself writing one email, learning one skill, making one move. Suddenly it feels real. Manageable. Achievable. But even this isn't the deepest layer. Because the most powerful visualizations don't target goals, they target identity. This is where everything changes. Neuroscience shows that when you visualize yourself as a type of person, your behavior reshapes itself automatically. It's called self-concept priming. Visualize being someone who works out, and your brain begins filtering decisions through that identity. Visualize being someone who stays calm, and your responses shift. Instead of thinking, "I want to be confident," think, "I'm learning to act like someone confident." The brain craves identity consistency. It hates when your actions contradict who you believe you are. But here's the trap: most people visualize identities they don't believe in. And their brain rejects those images before they can take root. This is the belief mismatch problem. If a visualization feels fake, your brain throws it out. It's called cognitive dissonance. If someone imagines being confident but still believes, "I'm a shy person," the visualization collapses. To fix this, you don't jump from 0 to 100. You build what psychologists call near beliefs. Not, "I am confident," but "I'm becoming more confident." Not, "I am disciplined," but "I'm improving." These small identity upgrades bypass your brain's honesty checker. They feel real enough to accept, and powerful enough to stack. And once they stack, your brain becomes ready for the strongest form of visualization, the one that rewires habits at the deepest level. Because here's the real magic: visualization rewires habits. Every time you imagine a behavior, your brain strengthens the neural pathway behind it. That's how athletes practice without moving. That's how performers rehearse without performing. Repetition builds wiring. Someone who imagines waking up early and doing a simple task builds the neural pathway for that habit, before doing it in real life. But this only works if the visualization ends with action, not fantasy. The formula is simple: see, feel, do. Visualize the action, feel the emotion, and let the brain prepare your body for the real behavior. And now that you have all the pieces, it's time to put them together. Because the real power of visualization isn't about dreaming. It's about shaping the life your brain thinks you're ready for. Quick question: when you visualize your future, what's the first image that shows up? And does it excite you, or scare you just a little? Tell me in the comments. What you picture first says more about your mind than you think, and I'm curious what your brain shows you. Everything you visualize becomes a message: prepare for this. That's why your thoughts sometimes feel real, they're rehearsals. Earlier, I told you most people make one visualization mistake. Here it is: they imagine a future they don't emotionally believe in. The picture looks good, but the feeling doesn't match. That mismatch kills progress. But now you know how to change that. You know how to use the mind simulator the right way, through process images, identity shifts, emotional alignment, belief bridges, and habit wiring. Your brain has been building your future with every image, every emotion, every quiet rehearsal. Now you get to choose the blueprint. If you want more psychology-based videos like this, feel free to subscribe. And remember the echo line, the future you see is the future you step into.